Opponents of solitary confinement believe that isolation is inhumane to the inmate, but solitary confinement is used as a form of protection or rehabilitation. Inmates are isolated from each other when it comes to the cells. The offenders placed in solitary confinement spend 22 to 24 hours a day inside the cell. Per the American Friends Service Committee and the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, offenders serve a period that ranges from days to decades in administrative segregation. The term administrative segregation started being used in the state of Texas to get away from the negative perception from the term solitary confinement. Solitary confinement gives the impression that inmates are locked up and forgotten about. Contrary to that belief, Texas has started to change the perception by adding new forms of treatment for inmates. Protection from gangs and other inmates is one of the greatest forms of treatments that inmates receive while segregated from the general population. The idea of inmates housed in administrative segregation are the worst of the worst is very far from the truth. When inmates are processed into Texas, the security threat group must provide an interview to determine gang affiliation. Once an inmate is determined to be affiliated with a certain gang, they are placed into administrative segregation for protection. If there is no gang affiliation, the other groups for protection are determined by the crime committed or by the inmate. Texas Department of Criminal Justice began a transition in 2014 to make administrative segregation a place for inmates with mental disorders. These types of inmates must be protected from the general population without protection from the rest of the prison. Inmates with mental disorders are often taken advantage of. This transition was also used to provide rehabilitative services instead of punishment. According to penalreform.com and afsc.com, inmates in administrative segregation are subjected to inhumane treatment by not receiving proper medical care. Inmates in segregation often receive better medical care when compared to general population inmates. While assigned to administrative segregation, inmates have dedicated medical staff throughout the day. On top of the medical care received, inmates in administrative segregation are also given dental care for a small fee. The mission of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice is to provide optimal patient care through the coordination resources of the University of Texas Medical Branch. This information is found on the University of Texas Medical Branch website. The types of services that are provided to inmates while in segregation exceeds the treatment that low-income families receive. Inmates in Texas Department of Criminal Justice System have a dedicated hospital since 1983. Furthermore, being assigned to administrative segregation, inmates do not have to wait to receive treatment. Education services are provided to inmates in administrative segregation by way of Wyndham School District. George Beto, the director of the Texas Department of Corrections, advocated for the establishment of Wyndham School District. The district was established in 1969 by the Texas legislature. Inmates placed in segregation are not allowed to attend classroom environment, but are still provided a similar type of education services. Due to the type of inmates that are in segregation, group counseling is the main form of educational services provided. In this environment, inmates are placed in a classroom with other inmates in segregation. This service provides the opportunity to rebuild social skills and allows the inmates to relate with others. District offers education from elementary to college. The older inmates that have been in prison for decades are provided the opportunity to either start or continue education. Inmates that enter the system at a school age must attend school. Educating inmates allows for more time out of the cell, which provides a form of release for the inmates. The Texas Department of Criminal Justice also offers a 4-month program that addresses dysfunctional thinking patterns. The life inside administrative segregation is often better than the homeless people that are seen on the side of the streets or the side of the road. Inmates must be provided 3 meals a day, on top of the ability to purchase food from the commissary. Homeless people and low-income families are not guaranteed this luxury. Segregated inmates receive great health care at little to no cost. Taxpayers are responsible for it. Homeless and low-income families cannot receive the same type of health care. Low-income families must also worry about paying a tax if health insurance is not maintained. Segregated inmates do not have to worry about paying this tax or any other expense that comes with health. This is the reason that life inside administrative segregation is more humane than most people care to believe.